Hey, what's up, world? I had to check in. Sorry, it's been so long that I've shared with you guys this coming summer and everything. Been very, very busy. Went on a long road trip with my pops for my 40th birthday. Went all the way from the mountains of Wyoming down to North Carolina. As some of you guys know, I'm doing my master's degree in positive performance psychology through the University of Missouri. And my professor, Dr. Orr, has asked us to discuss the war on sports. And after a good lecture where he took his position, I'm pretty much in line with him. And I've got 5 major reasons why. Number 1, learning to compete. Number 2, giving kids a chance to actually fail. Successful kids have a chance to fail while they're young. Number 3, physical health. Number 4, winning should not be demonized. And number 5, mental health and deep friendships. Now, when we look at the world that we're in, a lot of times we talk about grit, and we have a conversation about grit more now than ever because kids don't have it. They don't have the grit. They don't have the mental toughness. They don't have the resiliency. And, you know, we are born of a generation of people who have never had to go through a world war or a major conflict or a Great Depression. And that's great that we haven't experienced that and that we've flourished as a culture for a long time and probably been the most powerful country in the world. However, because of that, sometimes we get a little bit soft. And one of the places where, you know, America has been able to maintain a level of toughness and competitiveness is through the world of athletics and through sport. And in the world of safe spaces and people wanting to retreat from any opportunity where they can fail, sports is the last place that actually tests that. And where else are they going to learn to compete? Where else are they going to learn what it feels like to not necessarily know what the outcome is? That you can try your hardest, you can do your best, and fail nonetheless. And what Dr. Orr talked about that really spoke with me is the idea that that's actually a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing to do your best and to work your hardest and yet still not have the outcome that is the win or to be the very best. Because there's value in not necessarily being the very best, not winning all the time, no matter what anybody tells you. Okay, that doesn't mean we don't want to win. We absolutely want to win. Oftentimes when I have girls on my cross-country program, especially cross-country, they ask, hey, I don't want to compete. Can I just train? Absolutely not. We wear our jerseys, we compete, we win trophies, we get after it. And we wear our jersey with pride because we represent our community, and being a part of Parkway Central, girls cross country or girls track and field actually means something, means that we're going to be competitive, that we're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And that isn't easy. Being competitive, you get all sorts of emotions and fears and concerns and worries. These things come up. But you've got to learn to deal with them. You've got to learn how to handle them, because in life, when it comes time for getting a job or to try to find a suitable mate to marry, you know, these are things that like you're going to have to compete for. It doesn't always just happen naturally or easily or fall into your lap. You actually have to work for those things. You have to go after those things. You have to go get those things. In the world of sports is one of the few places where we can do that. I know that in some club baseball teams or leagues, they call them showcases. They don't even keep score. How can you not keep score? The number one thing that can show you if a person is ready to compete, can handle the rigors and the fear and the toughness and the emotions, is when something's actually on the line. If you don't keep score, if you don't figure out who the winner and the loser is in the situation, then this is all a just fantasy of athletic performance that you really don't get to see what happens. Now, we as people who have coached football in the past, I coached football in the past, we always have that experience. We have our camp, you know, and we have our training before people put on their pads. And you always see a kid who looks really competitive until they put on their pads, and then they retreat. Now, part of that could be that they're not comfortable being able to fluidly move in pads, or they don't have the right equipment. That happens often. I can't tell you how many times this big old noggin kept my, the helmets that I had to wear were incredibly uncomfortable. But outside of that, most of the time why that happens is because now you got to go mano a mano, man on man, person on person, and actually impose your physical will onto them. And it's important to learn how to do that. It is important to learn how to handle that. And that's not because we want people to body slam kids in the hallway or anything like that, but you need to struggle. one of the things that I really liked in one of Dr. Orr's other classes about grit was this idea that grit doesn't happen automatically. It comes from going through difficult experiences and coming out the other side, learning something, becoming stronger, becoming better. So learning to compete is incredibly important, and there's very few places where you can compete. Our school district, for example, went away from having the valedictorian in our school. And there's reasons for doing that and all this kind of stuff. And they wanted to get out of the competitive nature of classes and kids trying to point grub and doing all these things. And that a lot of people can have success in a group, and you can have these categories or these classifications of honors. And I get it, and I understand it. But we're also taking away for a person to have an opportunity to compete, okay? Now, that kind of moves us into the number two. Number two is the idea that what happens when you have a kid that is really successful? In their classroom, they're successful all the time. Academically, they're a success. They never have to struggle. They've got a 36 on their ACT. They've got a crazy SAT score. They've got a 4.0 GPA, their first chair in orchestra or band. And they're an academic success. But they've never been physically challenged. And I'm not saying physically challenged from like a fighting standpoint or anything like that. I'm saying, what has their body ever been put through? When has it ever been stretched? When has it ever been forced to go to its limit? Now, why would we want to do that, besides some of the other things that we're going to talk about here in my 5 reasons why we should resist the war on sports, is the fact that it's important for those people who are successful in every other thing that they do to face failure in a controlled setting, in a setting where failure isn't a problem, it is an opportunity. You know, one of the best quotes I've ever seen is that you can never lose. You either win or you learn. Now think about that. You either win or you learn. Where is it that an academically super successful kid that has never really truly struggled academically, when are they going to face that? Is it going to be medical school? Is it going to be when they become a lawyer? Is it when it's going to become time for them to be married and try to balance their career and their own success with a family and another person? When are they going to deal with that? The best opportunity to give them is early, when they're young and they're adolescents and they're developing, you know, mentally, and that they can handle that and they know that. And then later on in life, they have that grit to build upon. And grit doesn't happen automatically. It takes decades. And the unfortunate thing about how Mother Nature works is by the time we're really gritty and we can really handle things, you know, our bodies have given up on us. You know, we're old, we're bald, you know, we aren't what we used to be. But then we have perspective and we have wisdom. And I think it's really important for those kids to learn what failure feels like, so that it is not soul crushing or emotional when it comes later. They can pull upon that feeling, and they know that they can come out the back end stronger. Now, number 2, part B, is that there are a lot of kids that aren't successful academically, that aren't successful musically, but they are kinesthetically aware. They have amazing kinesthetic intelligence. Where can that kid feel successful if everybody gets a trophy, if everybody wins and we don't keep score, we don't force kids to dress out in PE, we don't make them compete in PE, they get points for showing up? I had a disability in writing, and because of that, I struggled in English class. But also because of that, I became a better writer later because I went through that struggle. I learned that I can overcome it and I can do it. But is it fair for a kid who runs 15 minutes in a mile to get the same points that a kid who went from a 15-minute mile to a 7-minute mile? Should we score them the same? We don't do that in any other class except in PE. And those kids should feel strong. It's okay for them to feel successful. It's okay for them to go, you know what, I am better than these kids at something, and that's good. And those kids, that might be the only thing that gives them confidence. And so if we take away winners and losers and measuring sticks of how we can determine one person is better than another, you're taking away an opportunity to build confidence in that child. Number 4, physical health. Okay. I know I'm a little bit bigger than the average bear. I certainly don't look the part of a cross-country coach for most cross-country coaches, okay? But I am militant when it comes to physical health. If we are going to maintain a nationalized healthcare system, we have got to demand that our young people are healthy. I don't understand why kids are not expected to do 4 years of PE. I know that's crazy. Oh my God, I can't believe that. Okay, well, if we can't do 4 years of PE, then every high schooler that enters into high school must participate in an extracurricular activity for the first 6 weeks of school. I don't care who they are. I don't care how many honor program classes they're in, chemistry, bio, physics, trigonometry. I don't care. When they enter in as a freshman, they have to participate in an extracurricular activity. Now, I know that not everybody can play football or play volleyball, but there's something for everyone, okay? And that by being involved, they're more a part of the community. They instantly have a friend group. We're making more healthy choices. We're spending more time around adults after school that have their care and their interest at heart so that they can be better, which forces some other good things to continue to happen. And you want to strike while the iron is hot. We need to make sure that we are keeping these kids healthy, because if not, we're all going to pay for it later. We're going to pay for an increased cost of healthcare in this country. We're going to have a decreased life expectancy, okay? For the first time ever, a couple of years ago, was the first time that people could expect to live shorter lives with all the medicine and all the innovations than the people before them. How is that possible in the richest country and the most powerful country in the world? We have all the medicine, we have all the doctors, we have all the medical care, but we don't have the culture that relies on the benefits of physical activity. We shy away from it. We don't do a mile test in certain PE classes anymore. They do a pacer because a mile test makes people feel bad. I heard they're not going to let kickball happen in a state in the South because kids feel bad when they don't win. Yes, they do feel bad. And our job as the adults in that situation is to help them grow, to learn. We never lose. We either win or we learn. And it is our job as adults and educators to help kids through that process, because physical health is important. Think about all the ACL tears that we have now. Look at what's going on in the NFL with injuries. People don't have an experience. And even when they get involved in sports, they don't have a potpourri of experiences. They do one thing, and they pay a coach a lot of money to get them good, quote unquote, at that one thing. But the reality, they miss out on all these other experiences: playing baseball, swimming, running track, playing volleyball, playing basketball, playing soccer. I'm going to tell you right now, I am crazy about track and field. But my daughters will play basketball. They will play soccer. And they will do a musical instrument, or they will sing. My kids are going to have a various, wonderful life experience as long as I'm on this earth and I can provide them that. But physical health is going to be an important part of that. Number 4, we've already kind of touched upon this a lot. We have to stop demonizing winning. Winning has been almost a negative thing. Kids nowadays, culturally, one of the things they talk about and they criticize, they ridicule someone by calling them a tryhard. Being a tryhard is a negative thing. Giving your best amongst some culture of adolescence is bad. Now, we know that some people have always been that way. They've always kind of been counterculture. They've been against what people want you to do, and that's always the way it's going to be. But when that becomes normative, when that becomes something that is expected, kind of common culture, that's really scary, guys. Because that goes in other places. It's okay to have winners. It's okay to look at somebody and go, man, what an awesome performance that guy was. And then not to list 1,000 reasons why you want to hate on him and say bad things about him and say, oh, he's this or that, or she's this or that. No. Winning is important. It should be important. It should drive you. It is something that we're all after. Now, can we have all the other good things that come through sports and all the other positive character development and benefits through sports? You darn well believe it. But part of that is because of the relentless pursuit of success. You want to be a big deal. You want your program to be a big deal. And it's okay. Don't be ashamed that you're better than others. Defend that. If somebody says, oh, I don't like the way that you're doing, oh, you're taking kids from me or you're doing that or whatever, make sure you're doing it the right way. Don't do anything illegal. At the end of the day, you don't want to go home and feel bad about that. But ultimately, don't be ashamed that you're successful. Okay? I got all these trophies behind me for a reason. They're in my room for a reason. I want people to know that we're a success. I take a lot of pride in that. I take a lot of pride in the community that we've been able to develop and the athletes who come into my sport from other sports and vice versa, who mutually benefit from that because we want to win. We want to get after it. We want to be successful. Okay? Humble in victory and defeat, no matter what, but we want to win. We're going to go after it. We're not going to say, hey, I just want to come out and train and get in shape. We're not a fitness club. Don't be ashamed of it. Okay? Don't demonize winning. Okay? It is a great thing. It is an awesome thing. Because when you win, if you've worked hard and you've given your all, man, does it mean something. I had an athlete, Diane Robinson, All-American indoor 5,000 meter, SEC record holder outdoor in the 5,000 meters, and she wasn't the number one girl in her school. At her high school and at her college, she was never the number one girl, even though she's one of the fastest people on the planet. Did she relent? Did she give up? No. Was it easy? Absolutely not. But then when she did win, we weren't like, well, you know, so-and-so wasn't in the race or this or that. No. You're very proud that you won because you deserved it. You earned it. You gave everything you had. And then you can feel really good about it at the end of the day and be satisfied. You have no questions in your head about, do I deserve this? Was this worth it? Was this something that I actually earned? You'll know because we are okay with winning and we are okay with working really hard to get there. If it was really easy, then who cares? If you're the best downhill skier in Kansas or the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, it doesn't matter. Okay, I want to be in the sport that has the most competitors, the most teams, and the most difficult path. Because when you get through the other end and you've won, you know that you deserve to be there. And having that success and chasing that success has so many positives in other ways with proper perspective. Okay, final thing, mental health. Physical activities is so important to mental health. When you run, you get a runner's high. When you work out and you train and you've done something incredibly difficult, like you've had a tough Monday football practice and you've done your line runs and you've done all this stuff that you've done and you hit really hard in the weight room and you're flat exhausted, you know you've done something good. When your body changes in a positive way, you become more muscular, you become more built, your posture becomes better. That gives you, that physical improvement also gives you mental improvement. Whenever you're really angry and you're mad and you're stressed out, in the world that we live in today, you can't go fight somebody or do any of that kind of stuff. But man, oh man, there's a whole bunch of sports that allow you to get that aggression and that anger out. Go to the gym. You know, every day is International Bench Press Day. Go push some weight, you know. Go on a run and just grind out the hardest workout you've ever been able to do. Get it out of your system. Being out in fresh air, in nature, in trees, in the sunlight is so good. And so when we take that away from our young people, we don't let them be physically active. We don't let them compete against each other. We're taking away that mental aspect, okay? That's good for mental health. Competing. And then here's the thing. Winning or learning, right? Those two things. When you have teammates, that builds a bond and a relationship with people that you will never have with anybody else. And I hate to say this, as a teacher, I can only do so much in the classroom. But you give me 2.5 hours after school with the kid as a coach, I'm going to build a relationship for life because there's so many more opportunities where you are humbled, you are put in precarious positions, you are meant to struggle, and you come out the other end tougher and a better person. And when you have somebody sweating alongside you, sometimes bleeding alongside you, going through these hard and difficult experiences, the ups and the downs, the winning and the losing, you know, being all state, getting disqualified, winning a state championship medal, struggling with an injury, breaking a new PR, or breaking a bone. There is value in all of those things mentally. And us as the shepherds of that, the talent whisperers, it's our job to make sure that these kids have the proper perspective about it. But all of that in the end can be really good, and it can be beautiful. Win or lose, win or learn. So don't take that away. Don't take away those deep friendships that those kids will remember forever. As entertaining and as fun of a teacher as I try to be, I guarantee the kids that broke the state record above me here in the 4x8, they're not going to remember the classroom lesson that I taught them as vividly as them being able to hold up one of those trophies over their head with the state record and the state championship. That's awesome. And we shouldn't be ashamed of that. And I know that we go to school to learn. We do. But also learning happens in those extracurricular activities. A lot of learning in the education you get outside the classroom in many ways is just as valuable as reading, writing, and arithmetic. All right, guys, top 5 reasons. Thanks for hanging in there with me and listening in. Please feel free to share this. Put your comments below in the comment box. Sorry it's taken me so long to share with you guys. Been very busy getting the year started in coaching. But I love you guys. Check in with you soon. Bye now.